Hello, my dear ones. Dang, I wish I could do these all the time, but there's so much going on. Don't forget our little man here. Take the day. Seize the day, young man. He's getting himself lined up. You know, sometimes you have to do that. You just have to kick back and line up and stop thinking. Find yourself wrapped up in thought and desire. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, whew, wait. Let me just hang out a minute and just relax and just be. Always work toward that as much as you can, and then keep trying to extend that. Trying to extend the point of observation where now you're just observing your movement in life. You watch yourself go to the bathroom, watch yourself put on your clothes, watch yourself get out and go to the car and go to work. You watch yourself, you're just observing. Let things just happen automatically while you step back. It's amazing. It's amazing to see that. Someone sent me this. This is from Leslie, but we've seen this. And it's a fresh fruit consumption and major cardiovascular disease in China. This made the New England Journal of Medicine. And basically, more evidence to our side again. More evidence to prove that fruit is in every way beneficial for you. And this is talking about in Western populations, a higher level of fruit consumption has been associated with lower risk of cardiovascular events or situations. Well, they took this study to China, and during 3.2 million person years of follow-up, I mean, they really had a lot of people involved in this. There was among 451,000 participants, so it's a pretty big study. And overall, and this was just adding a little bit of fruit to the diet, a little bit. And they had 18% less cardiovascular events. Just adding a fruit or whatever a day. Imagine when your life is predominantly fruits and with some vegetables. Imagine the state of health at that level. If just adding a fruit or two helps these events, and that's on top of a crappy diet, and you're just adding a little fruit to it. Pretty cool stuff. Really cool stuff. I won't get into the study, but I'm sure you can look it up. Its title is Fresh Fruit Consumption and Major Cardiovascular Disease in China. It is, again, from the New England Journal of Medicine. I thought really cool stuff. And just all of these things solidify our position. And our position is, you can't blow back on it. The body's designed, the way the teeth and the limbs and the gut. You just everything that you look at points to frugivorish. The fact that we're islander, not paleo, and all of these things show you. The biggest thing that shows you is that when you go on these type of living food diets of high fruits, berries, melons, and maybe some green drinks or vegetables, your health returns in a major way. And I mean from some remote positions. You can get pretty gnarled up, pretty acidic, pretty agglomerated, where your limbs start to distort and everything. Your body can actually pull it back and realign it and straighten it out. As the body can take itself this way, it can put itself this way. And it's simply the chemistry you're feeding it. Your body will respond to the chemistry you feed it, because that's what life is. Certain foods are designed for certain species, and there's not any species except the billy goat that can eat everything. Antoinette, message. First of all, thank you for what you do. My daughter, nurse, took a flu shot as required by her job. Can't wait to hear this. Now she is showing signs Guillain-Barre Syndrome. A doctor has not diagnosed her. She has been too many doctors and none of them can figure out what is wrong. I've been searching her symptoms and this is the closest illness I can find. I would like to help recover naturally. I know to feed her fruits, but I'm sure she needs to detox and may need another protocol of herbs. Please help if you can. Well, no question. And I I'm sure that even in the flu shots you got thimerosal. So, you're looking at neurotoxicity and toxicity on the lymph system. So when your lymph system is so involved, you can actually trip you into the very thing you're taking them for. In other words, a flu shot can trip you right into a cold and flu-like symptom in your body's effort to get rid of that chemistry. So, it's that thing. Detox is the only answer for her because you have to remove what you put in. Whatever type of chemistry it is. Your body doesn't like to keep foreign chemistry in it, so it's always in an effort to eliminate. What system is the elimination system of the body? The lymphatic system. Thank you. The lymphatic system is the eliminative system of the body, not the blood. The blood can't be everything to everyone. Thank you. The blood is a very simple, very small delivery system of nutrients. The lymphatic system, if blood is 20% of interstitial fluid and lymph is 80, how many times more is the lymph system bigger than the blood? 4 times? So you've got a system 4 times bigger than the vascular system. Pretty interesting for people that tout themselves as very intellectual and smart that don't know that system. I'm just saying. So, yeah, honey, you get your daughter to detoxify herself, put her on a fruit, berry, and melon diet. I would go on the detox kits here. 14-week protocol ought to be plenty. It just depends what's going on with her. You always know that as a nurse, she needs to learn about the lymphatic system, and she'll be the best nurse out there. And, of course, you can't use it in hospitals and things because that scenario. But this will give her a big edge up on all the other nurses, and she'll understand what all these people are going through and why they're going through it. And that's very important for a nurse, in my opinion. There's the 2 types of nurses. There's the know-it-all nurse and the nurse that's got a big heart, right? And those big heart nurses are the ones that should be in this field, helping man to get well, because nurses have big hearts, most of them. But then you also have the know-it-all nurse that went 2 years to school and suddenly RNs and suddenly they know it all. It's like, well... have your daughter detoxify herself. Go after the adrenals, go after the kidneys, get the gut cleaned up. Sweetheart, you have her take a picture of her eyes. There's her story. There's our story in your eyes. And there you see everything. You see your lymph system, you see your GI tract, you see the condition of the kidneys and the endocrine gland systems, the autonomic nervous system. You get to see all of that and the state of the lymphatic system. There's no science that shows you soft tissue like that, and the lymphatic system, none. So that's what makes iridology such a sweetheart little science. Man needs to start thinking about being positive instead of negative. Always be positive. Look at what God's put out there that we can discover yet. It's funny. God creates all this and then puts little treasures for itself to find, like a treasure hunter. Really, when you think about it. All these things are hidden truths, but once you find them, it's like, I got it. So it's like these little treasure hunts. It puts itself on, Funny stuff. This is from Michael. According to the list of herbs listed in the Cellular Botanical brochure for Male Reproductive Tonic, I'm assuming that they are all adaptogenic herbs somewhat, which makes them a little strong and a little heat producing. So this is why. If you think you have prostatitis, guys, this is very important. If your testosterones are low, don't take it. All these billboard signs and all this things about testosterone, you bring your thing up and all this stuff. The problem with taking steroids is very simple. You take it, your body quits making it. And let's say you're already hypoproducing this. You're going to super hypoproduce it. Matter of fact, generally when people stop steroid consumption, wham! They get a kick. Because most of the pharmaceutical steroids are suppressive in nature, not like the adrenal steroids, which are simply antacids. You got the acidic steroids, don't get me wrong, but you have a lot of the cortical anti-inflammatories or the base-dominant steroids like progesterone and cortisols and things like that. You know what I'm ordering next time. Now, what I'm getting at is that if the kidneys aren't filtering, the blowback is everywhere, right? The blowback is interstitial, everywhere, because everything drains to the kidneys or skin. So when they're not filtering, bam, it's a block, it's a wall. And that wall then begins the backing up of the sewer system. Well, the prostate's one of the first things to get it. Same thing with the ovaries and uterus. So women produce ovarian cysts, and polyovarian cyst syndrome is out there now, meaning it's just simple that you're just having ovarian cysts come and go. That's the lymphatic system. Then you look at the uteri, and you got endometriosis, which is heavy lymph stagnation. You got fibroids, so that's heavy lymph. That's when you're getting hardened. So you want to make sure before you take hot herbs like ginsengs and yohimbe and all these things like that, that your PSAs are 1 or below. Because if you have a higher PSA and you take hot herbs, it's possible to send that prostate into harm's way. Simply because you're adding heat on top of heat. And it's very advisable. If you go to the Chinese medicine, the yin and the yang, takes into some of this experience, whether it's hot or cold, whether something base or whether something's acidic, and that the effect that it has. Obviously, you don't use something that's acid or heat producing in an acidic heat producing climate. That's chemotherapy. That exacerbates the problem. Initially, it suppresses everything because it just super burns. But it's the blowback of chemotherapy and radiation that not good. And they don't talk to you about the blowback because I don't know. I've never seen about anything other than the money. But I know there's some good eggs out there, medically speaking. But they're sucked in a very negative killing machine here. Now, can I ask why Holy Basil is not included? Is the Chem metal detox formula the best to clean out pesticides mentioned in below reference? Truly, Chem metal is just something that can help. The real reality of heavy metals is simply detoxification. Simply because your body will eliminate that which it doesn't want through the vehicle of elimination. So the vehicle of proper metabolize or metabolitic cellular ways is the lymphatic system. Even the blood's going to dump what it doesn't want. It'll carry some, but that's why I like hair analysis over blood analysis when you're looking at toxemias and stuff like that. Actual tissue toxicity is not well seen through the blood. Much better seen through hair analysis, no question. But if you want to detox it out, you could take seaweed is good to help with that. Any chlorophyll-rich drink is excellent for heavy metals and stuff like that. So any rich like alfalfa, any heavy, like I say, dark green drink will be helpful at detoxing heavy metals. But fruit too. I mean, grapes very much. Your body is going to detox that which it doesn't want in it. If it's being stored in the lymph tissues. It's just, that's the system. And when that system's agglomerated, meaning stagnant, constipated, then there's no way to remove these things out of your body. And the blowback can be to the blood eventually, no question. That's why there's supposedly dialysis. Even though no consideration of the main issue of the kidneys are considered, the lymphatic organs. They're the main eliminative organs of the lymph system. Period. End of story. They're not just sit there looking pretty pee and water. I don't know what they're thinking. So to get out any of these pesticides and things like this, which are neurotoxins, and neurotoxins are a little more difficult to get out of the body than, say, excitotoxins, you want to use the fruits, berries for the neurotoxins. I'm just saying, you've got to get that myelin sheath integrity up there. So, Mike reference, there are only 13 known adaptogenic herbs in the world, and Holy Basil is the most powerful of them all for one simple reason. It helps your body adapt to a constant stream of threats that hold your testosterone hostage. I'm not sure that's true. I've never... adaptive. You wouldn't convince Chinese people that Holy Basil would be the most powerful adaptogenic herbs. Not over Foti, Panax, a lot of your other ones. There's some real powerful. Even a lot of your Ayurvedic herbs, ashwagandha, things like this. A lot of these things are tonic herbs, but they're heat producing. And a lot of people, interesting enough, a lot of Americans can't handle Indian herbs. A lot of people are allergic to ashwagandha and things like this. The faux tea is another incredible herb, another incredible adaptogenic herb. So I love these. And we have an adrenal formula that's of the tonics. But again, these are strong. These herbs are the strong herbs. They strengthen tissue. They strengthen the cell itself. So really incredible. This is why that, I don't have the picture here, it's in the next room, but the 256-year-old Chinese guy. Google 256-year-old Chinese man, see what comes up on the internet. But he died in 1933, I think. I forget how many wives and grandchildren and all this he had, but 256 years old. Claimed he did ginseng tea 5 times a day. On top of that, he claimed he didn't eat anything that grows below the ground. That would be starch. So I don't know, you have to really review his life and stuff like that. But I will research Holy Basil for sure. Not negative against it at all, of course. But if that's the case, then that would be one to add to your repertoire. But I wouldn't take it full strength. I mean, you're adding single herbs, maybe add a quarter of a dropper full, half a dropper full to a formula. So you could take Male Reproductive and then add Holy Basil on the side of that, say at a quarter of a dropper full. That would give you a well-rounded formula then. Yale Integrative Medicine Program founder Dr. Viva Rome agrees, saying adaptogenic herbs are really amazing to see a medical doctor agree about botanicals. That's amazing. It was years before they would even agree about orthomoleculars, let alone botanicals. Saying adaptogenic herbs are considered the kings and queens of the herbs for restoring health. Thank you, Guy. Is he a medical doctor? Must be at the integrative medicine, though. Yale, though. Vitality, immunity, stamina, and promoting longevity. I would like to see no other than medical doctors get into botanicals. Of course, here we go again. The herbalists are the most qualified. You can't take weekend courses as medical doctors and then claim you're an acupuncturist or whatever. Surgeon Dr. Chin down here. Weekend courses now, he's an acupuncturist. Scary. Because medical doctors don't know the body like you think they do. There's a lot of theories in medical practice and in A&P. That's why I had Pat here for a while to show you that. And theories don't buy you too much. It's like opinions. They're a dime a dozen. British scientists discovered more than 30 fruit and vegetable pesticides wrecked man's fertility by blocking testosterone. I believe that. Absolutely believe that. And remember, they're neurotoxins, so that in itself can shut down testosterone or anything, even beta cells for insulin. Anything neurotoxic has the potential to shut down the autonomic, which then in turn, or central, which then in turn will shut down the respective function of whatever. And every cell depends on the nervous system, basically, in some way. So the nervous system is as vital as the blood and lymph. I've always said there's 3 main energy flows in the human body: blood, nerve, and lymph. So it's good to see that in the medical world there is thought about botanicals, because it is the only logical world to go to. Pharmaceutical world has to come to somewhat of a major change. You can't continue to release toxic pharmaceuticals like this and get away with it. Not when you find that our group over here is curing all these things up, and you're using these toxic pharmaceuticals and people are just dying all over the place, or visiting hospitals from all the adverse reactions, or having serious maimed, being damaged in the body by these, like Accutane damaging all these young people. All this kind of crap like that. When you step yourself outside of nature, that's where the liabilities need to come in. When you're using nature's things, that's on God then. Jure, Jure. I never heard of that name. Pretty cool. I love your YouTube videos. I love you too. I was wondering if you could share your thoughts on psychedelic drugs like magic mushrooms. Ooh, a little magic mushroom. Ayahuasca. I can never pronounce that real well. And peyote. Well, I'd rather see peyote used, or poppy used, opium used, than morphine sulfate and all your refined narcotics on top of that. When you start refining opium, you start getting into your strong narcotics, and on up into what? On up into I don't know about cocaine, but on in some of the what am I trying to say here? All the narcotics that are way up there that have been refined from opium, which is morphine and what am I trying to think of? Yeah, but some of the more refined stuff, and that's scary because once you go on morphine sulfate, if you're not careful, that'll take you out. Most people that have a lot of pain in them and cancer, they just shove them into hospice and put morphine sulfate, and then of course out you go. So I'm real cautious about that sort of thing. So I think in some of these cases, I'll say this: I think these psychedelic factors in different herbs and mushrooms and things are essential to man. I think man has to learn how to have an expanded states of consciousness. The Timothy Leary syndrome, so to speak. Man, it pretty much is just, it just talks bad about each other, hurts each other, angry. Humans are in a bad way. And the freedom of man is being sucked out of them. The more laws the society enacts, guys, the more negative the society becomes, the more frustration, the anger. Some of these cops don't realize the more they sit out there and lay for people and that sort of thing, and I can't believe the Supreme Court allows that sort of thing, entrapment. When you're sitting there, you're entrapping. So no matter how you look at that. So so much of that. And then when you tie traffic fines into higher insurance premiums and stuff, and you're someone just barely making it in life, this is the sort of thing that's created this huge anger and bottleneck within the folk. You have to have an X amount of freedom and feel that and be able to breathe that. The only real leader that knew that was actually King Arthur. You've got to allow your people to feel free and to be free and happy, because if you don't and you keep restricting and restricting and restricting, the blowback will come. The government will be overthrown. All of this is happening, and that's what's real close. If Trump is not successful, the next stage would have been an overthrow in America, because look at the information coming out now, how corrupt our FBI is. Our FBI is so, but I've known that for years. I mean, Renee is our federal attorney, and she knew the judicial system was corrupt the minute she went to school for law, because she worked for a circuit court judge and a federal judge in their offices. And she said, you will not believe the conversations that go on behind the chambers, in chambers. You won't believe it. And so she knew then that our system was in trouble here. And if you don't have honesty and integrity, the whole world crumbles. Remember Rome fell? And they've likened America like Rome. So you got people coming in to get rid of that swamp, to get that no matter what you see. And there's so much negative fighting against that. The negative forces are trying to fight that real bad, because the negative forces have been allowed to grow here. Now it's time that they step back. And we're here as a part of that, stepping back. Because if you don't, the humans won't exist anymore here. It's well established. I can just tell you from a spiritual viewpoint, the human being was, So I kind of like all those. I'm not familiar with this, ayahuasca or so whatever. I can't pronounce that properly, but I'm not familiar with that at all. Magic mushrooms I've done, and I've never done peyote. But it's obvious that you get. The thing is, Native Americans have used the peyote to expand and to have visions, or for the shaman, out-of-body experiences, because a good shaman will know about out-of-body experiences. And you see in New Guinea and a lot of these tribes, like the ant glove and all these things like that, where they get you into extreme pain to get you out of the body instead of using psychedelic stuff. And some tribes use psychedelic stuff. There was a special on TV showing animals that consume psychedelic things in nature. It saw some moose, he got drunk on some berries or something, he's up in a tree. He got himself up in this tree. And it's like, relax and allow people to grow and experience not only the physical, but things that are more etheric. Why do you think they exist here? But you use them so you can understand how to have that experience naturally. Because if you use the magic mushrooms correctly, it'll pull you into the now. If you're a weak soul, basically, you'll start tripping. But if you're strong, it'll pull you in the now, and then all the answers start flooding in. You want them, they'll flood into you, and you can't believe it. But it pulls you into that extreme now. That was a Timothy Leary experience, trying to have an altered state of consciousness. Well, everything's an altered state of consciousness. But if you trip out of this physical world completely, it's a much bigger altered state of consciousness. Because now you're in a whole different body, while your physical body's back in a chair, back in bed, resting. Your attention now is predominantly in your astral body or your other mental bodies, depending which level you want to go to. Fun stuff, but it's something man needs to come to, because now we're being visited with a much more elevated beings here on this planet, whether people like to hear this or not. Got to get real and get truth. And so we need to come up in our level of understanding. Essential. So, yeah, I'm not disfavor it, but moderation and eat right. The thing is, eating a high fruit, berry, melon diet will bring you into some of these higher states already. So you don't really need to do some of those things. I used them when I was young, but now I know what I'm after. It helped me to see the state I wanted to. Like I said, I've never done the other two, so I can't give you a reference. I've never done opium either. I've done window pane, which is LSD, which is about the same thing as magic mushrooms. But short term, because once you realize its effect, you can mimic it with your own consciousness. It's just to wake up. It's like having a traumatic experience or a very emotional, painful experience that just gets you to let go. That's how God does it. When you hold on to things so tightly, it can rip you away from them. So that's why I say detachment is a better way to go. Because if you want to know God, be prepared to be ripped. So then you've got to let go, because if you want to know something that's infinite, you can't be identifying with the finite and little things like this and this world. You can't be lost in this world and at the same time claim you want to know something that's created this world. See what I'm saying? Are natural psychedelic drugs safer than man-made ones like LSD? Absolutely. You don't have to go there. God-made is the only way to go. But I've done LSD in the form of window pane. But it's hard on your body. My body cramping all over, and it's hard on your body. But that was way back when I was 20 years old. 21, 22 maybe. Maybe not even that old. But it's enough to say that I didn't need that experience long, because it gave me what I was after. See, you want to control your consciousness. You want to be consciously awake. You don't want to have your awakeness sifted through your mind through thoughts and emotions. It has to be, but if you follow it too much, you get lost with it. You can actually pull back and be awake and let the mind and emotions still work. Takes practice, takes work, but you can do that. The ultimate goal, to me, for a spiritual giant is to maintain the now and enjoy creation to the max. But you can't be attached. You can't be me. I want to own this person or that person. I want to own. No, you have to be free and give others the same level of freedom. And then your relationships are much better and even last longer. I have tried magic mushrooms before in a dark room, and it was awesome. Felt like I was vividly dreaming. Absolutely. And if you get even more in the now and you're working in that now, you'll pull in the now answers. I mean little answers, almost like a library plugged into you, and all the answers. You're seeing things, the truth of things, and it's like, wow, it's just opening you up. Very limited, though, because you're supposed to learn how to do this the right way because you are already the state you're trying to achieve. You're already the state you're trying to achieve. You've lost that in the sense that you use the mind and emotions to function in the physical or in the material worlds, in creation. And that takes your attention into these bodies because their senses are pulling your attention into them, like the physical five senses. It's when you shut those five senses down in meditation, contemplation, prayer, whatever you wish to call it, you shut down the outer senses to listen to the inner senses. And there's levels to these inner worlds. Jesus said, my Father's mansion has many rooms, levels. Look at the shells, the shells around the nucleus and protons. Rooms. We consider them rooms, many rooms within the shell of an atom. So when you look at that, these are many departments, many grades. Do out-of-body experiences feel like dreams? No. Now, I say no, and if what you just said here, you had a vivid, lucid dream. Lucid dreaming is your participation in a dream. You're more awake in the dream. It's more real. Out-of-body travels means that you're taking your attention that you were looking and listening to me right now, and you're moving that to other places. Instead of watching me or listening to me here on a TV or a video or whatever, you're moving your attention to other bodies that you have and to other worlds. And it's difficult if you don't know that you have other parts to yourself, but there's that buddy system. So there's been plenty of meditators and out-of-body travelers. Look at most yogas are out-of-body traveling all the time. So you got a whole, it's just that a lot of religions have kept that quiet. Look at Catholicism. Shame on you. Because you have Catholic monks that go out into the desert. Remember that? Every year, spend 40 days and nights in the desert with out-of-body traveling. Why don't we hear that from the Pope or anything? You don't hear about that private sect in Catholicism. It's almost like those secret societies within these religions are privy to the more of the etheric things, more of the agnostic teachings, as opposed to the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John teachings. And so that's what you want to look at. What did Jesus really say? Not what the churches wanted you to think he said. What did this being of light say? Same things, what did Buddha really say? What did Enoch really say? You know, what did these spiritual giants have to bring to the earth? And they all have the same message, just in different languages. They all have the same language, because creation isn't different for different people. Only in the states of consciousness that exists. But the middle worlds are the middle worlds. The astral worlds are the astral worlds for you and me and everyone else. So its only difference is that, especially on this level, humans see a human over in India or a human over somewhere else as being different and not from the same God and everything else, and we need to go over and make sure they think like we do and all that sort of thing. We don't have any respect for the all of the all, the realization that everything is individual, everything is different, and that's the beauty of it. The negative forces come in and say, no, 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 we want to pull socialism in, we want everything the same. Well, that breeds anger, that breeds depersonalization, that breeds loss of your consciousness. You become a follower. That's just what they want. Hand over your paycheck, work for the company, hand over your paycheck to the company store, the World Bank. Excuse me. Yeah, that turned out a little spiritual talk. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Oh, Michelle. Question for Dr. Morse. Could you please explain to me the immune system? Yeah, when you explain to me, sweetheart, the immune system, then I'll explain it back to you. I don't understand how it works. I don't either. Why? Because I was diagnosed with breast cancer in April of this. Oh, honey, April of this year. I am never sick, just a few bad allergy. Okay, all right. So she said she just had a few bad allergy days every spring and fall, but I haven't been sick for quite a few years. How do I get sick? How do I not get sick, but I get cancer? Thank you. Easy. You didn't catch cancer. You don't catch allergies. Cause and effect, my dear one. So, let's take the hype of cancer out of the picture. Put cancer over there in the trash can right now, honey. Now let's look at what's going on here. Did you have fibrocystic breasts before? Maybe, maybe not. Get a picture of your eyes and take a look at that chest wall and see what's hiding underneath the skin. Now, when they talk about your immune system, and they say that cancer is autoimmune problem, meaning that your immune system is wacky, and so many immune systems went wacky all over the world, since cancer, we'll use their name, is 1 in 3, soon to be every other person. It's 1 in 3 right now, according to their statistics. One guy was in, and this is 10 years ago, and I was watching these statistics growing, and I was saying, statistically, I think now that out of 5, 3 people have some sort of what they call cancer. And this guy said, well, I'm a brother of 5, and 4 of us have cancer. So let's take a look at what, you got to go back to the lymphatic system to understand your immune system and what cancer really is. So, for the sake of argument, when you're diagnosed with cancer, that simply is a cell that's been damaged and mutated. As a rule, I don't have pictures here, I don't think. Marcy, I would like to get them here to show you the difference between a normal cell and a cancer cell. But remember, your immune system, your main immune system, is your lymphatic system. That is your main immune system. There's no immune system that's separate. I'm over here and I'm your immune system. You've got bone marrow, thymus gland, you've got a lot of tissues involved in the immune cell production. But your predominant immunity lies in the lymphatic system, not in the blood. Although you do have immune cells in the blood, most of your immunity lies within the lymphatic system. Simply put, your lymphatic system is the sewer system. The key awareness that you had to this was your allergies. Allergies means that your lymph system is really backed up, and a little whatever sends you off into elimination, sends you into a cold and flu-like symptom, or not so much a allergic reaction. It can, when you get that backed up, you get too much of something in your body, chemistry, it can give you allergic reactions. But as a rule, the reaction is detox actions. The body's need to get rid and clean itself of these. So when you're looking at your immune system, your thymus gland's involved, your bone marrow's involved, your lymph nodes are involved, your lymph system is the main one where all these lymph cells are involved, because most of the damage or any part of cell metabolites have to be removed through the lymph fluids, the interstitial fluid, not the blood fluid. Blood isn't a fluid of collection. And there is some thought in our level of thinking from us that because there is some piggybacking of the lymph vessels on top of the veins or arteries, that could indicate through osmosis, I don't think through diffusion, but I think through osmosis there could be a removal of acids through the wall into the lymph fluids itself. Why would it piggyback on the vessels? That's what they discovered in the brain. So there are a lot of questions when it comes to the lymphatic system, but your immune system is your lymphatic system, and when you're not filtering, your immune system is backed up, stagnant. And that's when you start to see the cancers. This could have grown and grown and grown. You never knew it. Ever know? Maybe you felt a little something, a little twitch, a little something, didn't know. And then suddenly one day, whoa! This has been developing, my dear one. This isn't something you catch. This is something you create. And how do you create something like cancer? Remember, cancer is simply cells that are damaged. Let's take a look at this because I've talked about this before. So let's take the liver. I've used this. I was talking to some people yesterday. Let's take a liver as an example. Let's just take a piece of your liver. Everybody's had liver and onions growing up. So let's take a piece of liver, right? So let's lay a piece of liver out here. What do we got? Well, what we got is probably 1 billion cells and blood and lymph and some chemistry. All right? Now let's take a piece of lung tissue. What do we got? A bunch of cells, a lymph system, a blood system, and a bunch of chemistry. All right, let's go over and take a piece of your heart off. What do we got? A bunch of cells, lymph, blood, and some chemistry. All right, let's take a piece of your, let's take a piece of the uterus out of you. What do we got? We got a bunch of cells, we got lymph, the sewer system, we have blood, the kitchen, and then we have some chemistry. Can we go on? Everywhere you go, this is what you find in the body. Everywhere you go. How simple is that? So what's cancer? Cancer is of a cell, not of a fluid. It's of a cell. And only a pathologist or histologist can tell you that it is a cancerous cell. It is stained. Now, it's the same way we determine the level of morphology, the level of this in a cell. Before a cell is at a certain level of decay or mutation, it's called an atypical cell. A cell that's starting to change its morphology. And what side of chemistry? Chemistry rules every action and reaction in the physical world. What side of chemistry then would be responsible for altering the cell function, the cell metabolite? In other words, inside the cell, not around the cell. That's inflammation. Inside, I have to be inside the cell to mutate the cell. As long as I'm pooping, I'm a cell, and as long as I'm eliminating my metabolitic waste outside of the cell, outside of my body, I'm good. Now, might be inflammation all around me, and it's hot, and yeah, there's mucus developing, and I'm not doing well function-wise. It's suppressing me, so maybe I'm hypoactive, or maybe I'm hyperactive from all the acids, that sort of thing. But eventually, as stagnation continues, and your kidneys aren't filtering, the road is clear, not cloudy, then a little at a time, 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 and all your genetic weaknesses are going first because they're already lymphatically compromised, more so than in all your other tissues. So they're going to go first big time. That's the hot spots. So when you add another acid like chemotherapy in the mix, all those hot spots are going to pick their little heads up because now you're destroying areas that are going that way. For what? A cell that couldn't eliminate its waste. So here I got a piece of liver. Now, if my lymph system grows on the side of the liver and there's no cells in it, that's a benign tumor. A same fluid, same system, same thing. Same thing. Now, if that tumor grows interstitially, grows around the cells, you can forget any cell that's in that tumor, right? Here I'm growing around some cells. I'm closing these cells off, and this tumor is full of high acid sludge. Do those cells have a chance? Hell no. So all a medical doctor does is go in, aspirate, or go in and take a biopsy of that to see if there's a cell in there that's been damaged. I guarantee you, if there's a cell in a tumor, it's going to be a cancer cell, or growing that way real quick. Doesn't matter, it's in the tumor. Here's the big problem. When there's no tumor, And all the cells around there are starting to change its morphology, and you have replication of that. The lymphocytes can't remove these cells and take them to the lymph nodes for macrophage elimination. When you look at the immune system, how that works, how the body takes damaged cells, not through the blood, impossible, through the lymph system to the lymph nodes. Guys, medical doctors, study your A and P. And now you have your macrophages in your lymph nodes to break down these cells. What's the bacteria in the lymph nodes for? Metabolitic waste. Why would you kill the bacteria in the body since it's responsible for breaking down metabolites? Matter of fact, they're responsible for breaking down 3 pH to at least give you 6. So you're not on your knees peeing. You don't want to pee 3 pH. You'll feel like you've got cystitis and everything else on the planet. Those of you always got interstitial cystitis know what I'm talking about, because you have 3 pH acids stuck interstitially. That means around your cells. So that is just a precursor to then intracellular acidosis. And that then breaks down, remember, acids are corrosive, and that then breaks down the organelles of the cell. The mitochondria, the DNA, and chromosomes are mutated, and it starts mutating the cell. That's what they call cancer. It's simply an atrophied cell. Big deal. It's the system that you have down you've got to address. You can't address the damaged cells. That's insane. That's child behavior in these academically out there people. You can't go after the cells. The cells aren't the problem. They're the effect. The lymph system is the problem. That's your sewer system. And I guarantee you, if you can't poop for a month, you're not going to feel good. Think about years of lymph stagnation, honey. Think about years of stagnation of your lymph, and suddenly you're starting to see breast cancer. This has been developing in you. No one thinks except you had allergy problems. That is your lymph system. And by the time you're having allergies, you're in trouble. So for you to get a good picture, sweetheart, get a picture of your eyes. There you are, physically. There's your physical body. What's your lymph system look like? What's that chest wall and breast tissue look like? Because there could be even a weakness on the chest wall. So all these things, honey, you're not catching anything. There's nothing to catch. Cause and effect rule creation. That is science. That's not pseudoscience. That is actual science. Actual physics. And if people want to deny it, go ahead. I don't know. Need to take a physics course, but in a chemistry course. So what that means, honey, you want to get your kidneys filtering, get your kidneys filtering, and get this out of there. Get this lymph moving out of there. Because the cells are just sitting there. They're innocent. They're just sitting there. They're victims of the chemistry you're consuming. And when you don't know the proper chemistry for humans, it shows that humans have lost their intuitiveness. They've lost their understanding of their species. And now you see people with so much parasitic action. They eat out of alcoholism. They eat out of, because the average person is an alcoholic. People are constantly fermenting their foods inside of their bodies, constantly the way they eat. So the average person is definitely an alcoholic, doesn't even know it. People have been arrested for the way they eat, not what they drink. So, I mean, it's amazing when you see all of that. You combine protein and starch, you're going to get alcohol. Or if you ferment a sugar, in other words, you put fruit on top of, let's say, oatmeal, you're going to get alcohol. And your blood alcohol levels are going to show that. So thank you so much, honey, but you get moving on there. If I was you, I'd put myself on a 20-day grape diet. Just grapes for 20 days. All you want. Eat as much as you want. And then I would take the herbs with it and go right after the kidneys, the adrenals. Remember, the adrenals are involved. And go after you. See what's going on in you. What else is?
Well, yes.
I got to go up. We have an employee here that's bad. We're going to give one of our employees a real nice Christmas present. She's so poor. This is from Richard. I'm taking your level 1 DVD course. Thank you, man. After reading your book the day after my retirement. Ugh. I'm trying to retire, but no cigar. I'll never retire. There's just too much work to do, and you guys need help so much. Who cares? This feeds me too. You guys feed me too and keep me going too. So I love you for that. This guy retired at 5'1", at 66 years old. I'm also studying for my Naturopath. Oh, that's too cool. I'm working through a heart blockage LAD, of 100% LAD blockage. That's an artery in the heart. Wow. Well, due to my organic life, working out, doing Kung Fu. I love Kung Fu. I never missed an episode of Kung Fu because I've always loved martial arts. Oh my God, I'm a lover of martial arts. He'd been taking Kung Fu since he was 60 years old. And over 60, I built my own collateral arteries, 2 of them for the LAD. Lost my hearing due to shingles in my left ear. Suggestions, please. It was called herpes zoster. T-Y. Oh, thank you and God bless. All right, so let's look at this kind of in one way. Okay, so if you have a blocked artery, what's causing it? Oh, you have cholesterol plaquing, or you have calcifications. There's 3 things actually. There's prolapsus, where the connective tissue has been so ravished, even though that one little cell thick, but it's been ravished of its calcium, of its matrix, that you have a prolapsing or a collapsing of the vascular wall. You see that. Or you have cholesterol building up in that one cell level, which swells the wall, or you have calcifications building up in the wall from the withdrawal of calcium and hitting in an acid medium. So you can get calcified, you can get lipidized, and so the only answer to all of these questions is found on the base side of chemistry. And that's found in your fruits, your berries, your melons, and your vegetables. That's not found in your proteins, your nitrogens. It's not found in your nitrogens. It's found in your carbons. So you want to hit on, just like I told the lady before you, you want to put yourself, if you're that occluded and you're running the risk of an MI, then you want to do a couple things. Stay on lower and upper circulation, number 1. Number 2, fruit, berries, and melons only. Number 3, get the kidneys filtering. This is a lymphatic problem that is now becoming a blood problem. That is when things turn bad. All right? Aneurysms. I mean, you can go on and on and on with this, from spider veins to varicose veins to you name it, petechia, bruising easy, that sort of thing. So this is serious stuff. You know, you really want to get that moving. You know, and get that artery opened up. Lost his hearing due to shingles. Okay, so shingles is herpes. That herpes virus, almost everybody has herpes in them, one level or another. So virals are only detoxable out. There's not, in my opinion, even though you see antiviral herbs, detox virals out. I wouldn't be taking an herb waiting for it to detox the viruses out of my body. You might not be successful with that one. But you want to realize, you know, we're not fighting microbes here with virals. So that's what you want to look at, is detoxing the viral load out. Now that also indicates that you have a what weakness? Myelin sheath weakness, all right, because that's your myelin sheath, shingles. Right? So that in turn pulls me down to your adrenal glands and neurotransmitter production. So you're either looking at high or low blood pressure. The bottom line, you're looking at low blood pressure. if it's high. Once you start getting the kidneys filtering and everything, and some of these occlusions out, your blood pressure is going to go low. And again, you're going to see the need to work on your adrenal glands. I would do upper circuit, brain, and nerve. I would candle my ears 3 to 4 candles per ear, and then wait about 3 months, 2 months, and do it again. At the same time, I'm working on my neurolymphatic system and getting my kidneys to filter. I'm working on my bowels, because you can get your hearing back and you want to get it back. So you want to go after this. And I would go after it aggressively. Since you have an LAD that's blocked, that's not good. These are coronary arteries, and that creates an MI or ischemia, and this is 100% blocked. And that's ischemia, meaning there's cells on the other side of that waiting for that blood that is not getting it. And that is what causes your MIs there. Okay, go after yourself aggressively there, my man. Kung Fu man. Oh, I love Kung Fu. And strengthen the myelin sheath. And you can only strengthen the myelin sheath to strengthen the adrenal glands. And detox these. You got to detox anyway. You got to get these acids out of your body, get your lymph system filtering so you can remove any obstructions here in the arteries. And at the same time, you want to get the herpes out. So you do it all at once. Why wait? Name is Ramzi. Ramzi. Hi, Dr. Morse. Hi, my man. I know you have spoken about the number 1111. Yeah. Do you guys still see it? I still see it all the time. Or 111. In the past, I have been seeing the number 23. Interesting. Excuse me. I've been seeing the number 23 everywhere for the past few years. I wonder what that means. This number seems to be following me everywhere. I wonder what that means. You'd have to talk to maybe a psychic or someone really into numbers, because that's not my field, not my gig. I feel though as if something is trying to communicate. Well, that's obvious. That's obvious. When you see these things over and over again, you have to figure how do you do that? Go into contemplation. In other words, listen. Listen to the voices, and after a while you have to determine whether it's your own thoughts or someone using your thoughts or someone communicating to you. When you start working with your spiritual guides and things, they will communicate more with you when you're listening. And so you want to listen more. In other words, turn off the outer rhetoric and listen within. And those messages will get there when you learn how to listen good. They'll tell you right there. And ask them what the number 23 means to you. What's the significance of this? You can look at that as 5 or 1, 2, if you add them or subtract them. I'm not really good with all of that. I know everything is frequency and vibration. The 1111 is a powerful, powerful number, no question. I see it as individually we stand together. I see that the oneness of all things, but in creation, we stand alone, but we're together. That's important to understand. It's vital to understand your individuality and your aloneness, your consciousness, because that's you. Your thoughts are not you. Your emotions are not you. These are the tools you use to experience with. All these experiences that the mind has been created to create, and the emotions and that, all feed back to this massive now, this massive consciousness that has no beginning or end, that can't be measured, that can't be limited, that can't be intellectualized. You can only experience that state. The mind tries to conceptualize it, but now, it's like the drugs we talked about. Once you experience it, the mind can get comfortable with it, and the problem is you have to be careful that you don't mentally have higher consciousness. Another little April Fool's game. I feel, though, as if something is trying to communicate with me. I would appreciate if it could shed some light on what the meaning of this number might be. I wish it could. I'm not that smart. I don't know. But they sure are significant when you see things over and over again, and kind of exciting to figure out what that is. Because there's a message in the bottles all over the place. But you have to be watching and listening to get those messages. If you're busy thinking and planning, and I want this and I want that, and what about my next relationship or my one now, and all these things, you lose. You lose. You hold yourself back from being awake. All right, so here's one from David. I have a question about the keto diet and fats. And I just did a video on the ketogenic diet, so you want to go to that because I talked about it in this video. I went over that because in the Townsend newsletter they had this ketogenic article. And brother, let me tell you, even the concept to keep somebody in slight ketoacidosis is insane, and to keep someone in lower blood sugars is insane because that is actually, you don't get your energy from fermentation, and that's what they're trying to allude to. You got the adenosines and you got the proper carbon breakdown, and it's like, anything that smacks of ketosis or acidosis will lead you to your death. And then we had Marcy here, I think, came in the other day and told you that she's ended up in the hospital many times with ketoacidosis. Anytime you talk to a type 1, somewhere in their journey they visited the ER probably with ketosis. And it's it's just a dangerous practice. Why consider anything like that? The fact that it is a lipid diet, though, more toward the lipid side, although if you look at it, it's got proteins as well. But when you're looking at the lipid side of this, lipids are antacids. Remember, your immune system, your lymphatic system, is mainly a lipid-based system. And when you understand the nature of acids, it makes sense then that your cholesterols and your phenols and all the lipids are going to be found in that system. So so they claim fat is a clean burning fuel. Not as clean as sugars. Sugars is your cleanest burning fuel. I would say that if you ever attempt to burn a protein, that would be your dirtier fuels. They recommend 3 to 6 grams of protein. The keto flu sounds like your lymph system flushing out the garbage. Yeah. Very little fruits, too much sugar. I know. 1 to 3 to 1 water molecules supporting glucose. So when you cut sugars, you lose a lot of water. I like what Dr. Berg has to say, but I really like what you have to say also. You recommend the vegetarian diet. Actually, I would recommend the fruitarian diet, but I don't think man's ready for that level. And we couldn't get that many good fruits, I don't think. The good fruits, oh my God. If you get good, ripe, organic fruits, they're nectar. They're nectar of the gods. Anybody had a pineapple? Anybody had a ripe plant-picked pineapple? Oh, that's when you know there's a God out there. I mean, there was this show, I don't know, Most Amazing Videos or whatever. They did get into the animals that were high on eating fruits and berries in nature, particularly. And it was amazing to see the fun that the animals have with that. Very interesting to see that. You recommend the vegetarian diet. What is the best starting point with your system of nutrition? The best starting point is to go into a detoxification. In other words, start eating your fruits and your berries and your melons. These are the highest energetic foods on the planet and the high nutritional foods on the planet. They will start to build the nervous system. At the same time, they'll start cleaning the lymph system and getting the kidneys to filter. They're the keys. They're more of the astringent-rich foods. I started out vegan, what the health, Netflix, no problems, lost 10 pounds, switched to keto, Dr. Berg's version, lost 8 pounds, problem after 6 days, headaches, flu-like symptoms, day 13 still feeling like the flu, but I have energy. Now thanks to the lady at the cable company, I found you. Better, higher, by far. The ketogenic, go back to a couple videos ago where I really get into the ketogenic diet. And where we really discuss it. I don't want to take up the time again, but it's in about 2 videos back, maybe 3 at the most. One thing for sure, big farms and our government with food and dairy, lobbyists have sold us down the river. No kidding. No kidding. Sad, ain't it? Sad that we're selling the human race down for money. That's how corrupt the swamp got. Can you comment on all these questions? Yeah, stay away you don't see these types of diets anywhere in nature. You just don't. The only where you see that is in the grizzly bear or the bears prior to hibernation. You'll see that in the fall when you see the bears going after the salmon, and the older bears, of course, rip the skin off and go for the fat. Why is that? Because excess fat is stored as glycogen or stored as a fat, but broken down back into what? Glucose. Because your sugars are your fuels, not your fermentation. Your sugars are your fuels. If you fermentate your sugars, now you're setting up a different form of acidosis. And you want true adenosines, the phosphates. And you want to get energy in that mechanism. But there's energy released in every releasing and every bond broken, of course. But the ketogenic creates ketosis and acidosis, same thing. And this is the quickest way to lose your health. Quickest ways to lose your health. These are bizarre diets. And it's a treat. If you said anything about it, particularly from a Dr. Berg's perspective, it's a treatment-based diet. Anti-inflammatory. Because your lower proteins, higher lipids. If you understand inflammation, you would have zero proteins. All right, I'm going to have to go here in just a minute, but is it possible to cure gynecomastia, or is surgery the only way out? Well, you could use, go to a plastic surgeon and have your liposuctioned. I also ask, because Dr. Morse's Health seems to have it. I do. I have a little bit of gynecomastia myself. And of course, again, that's your steroid out of shape, and more the stabesterols. The stabesterol is a hormone that determines your breath shape and size. So again, hormones and steroids, man, getting themselves out of balance. So I just go for health and get my health of it. If you have real big breasts, I don't know, I think if I had real big ones, if they didn't come down during a extreme detox and getting reforming your body, then I'd probably do some liposuction or something. As nasty as that sounds, I don't know, because there's a emotional component to all this stuff, I suppose. But you just can't worry about it. That's called man boobs. Gynecomastia is man boobs. And again, these are steroid-driven, hormone-driven stuff. So get your body healthy and pull back from that. And outside of that, I have my own thoughts. If you're too bad and you're a man and you got too much of a thing about it, that's the only way I know to find remedy that way. But get the body healthy again, balance out the hormones and steroids. That'll help at least fix the problem. Some of these things are difficult. I've never seen anybody with gynecomastia that really took detox way out there to see the changing, because scoliosis is corrected. Any new nerve pathways, vascular pathways are obvious. Regeneration of tissue is obvious. Bone can everywhere is obvious. The limbs distorted, we can do that. All these things, we've done this over and over and over again, but I've never done gynecomastia to see if anything can take place with that. Interesting. You might want to see for yourself. Hit it hard. Be 100% raw for about 2 or 3 years. See what happens. See if the body realigns itself. It will realign itself, but see if that will. I don't know. Women's boobs do. Or bosoms. I better do one more. Anna Sue. The problem around here is we see a lot of bosoms, but not in good shape. Not in good shape. I feel sorry for the females out there right now. Hi, Anna Sue. Hi, I see all of the questions and emails that Dr. Morse does on YouTube, and I am wondering, how do I write to him like that and send him a picture of my eyes to analyze? I don't mind pictures. I'm trying to clue Gen B in to let the pictures flow through. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them, but I can spend a real quick analysis on them. So if you want to send in a picture, I'll do it real quick as I read in your story. I'll do a real quick analysis on them. I think that'll be helpful. I tried writing here, but there are not nearly enough characters available to summarize my story and ask my questions. The emails he reads on YouTube seem a lot longer than the space allows for here. So, well, Anna, let me. I'll put this so Jen can see that, maybe get back with you and correspond. I did get your request here, but let's see that we can get it. I talked about this one too. This is a question about removing asbestos fibers out of the lungs. You know, I was telling you about I fell off a telephone pole when I worked at the phone company one time, and I grabbed it, which you're not supposed to, and of course all the creosote splinters. I was getting splinters out of my fingernails for years. So, you know, the thing is that when you get your body in an alkaline slurry, it starts to push out the unwanted. In an acid slurry, everybody stays home because it creates agglomeration. Everything locks in an acid medium. In an alkaline medium, everybody breaks up and everybody goes back home again. The party's in an acid medium, and then an alkaline medium, everybody, time to go home, everybody. We destroyed the place. And so that's what you want to think about. I would use the lung formula. I would sip on the 3-lung tea throughout the day. I would go after my kidneys, my adrenals, go after your lymph system. This is the system. You're not going to throw that back in the blood. You want it to go through the lymph system, or cough it up. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of this stuff is coughed up, and you can cough up some really nasty stuff. Allow yourself to go through that. And a lot of people are afraid to allow themselves to go through colds and flus and bronchitis and pneumonias because medical doctors kill a lot of the people that have pneumonia with antibiotics. You don't die with pneumonia. But these are deeper levels of detox, and you got to be smart when you go through it. I inhaled them, and I'm scared. I saw Dr. Morse's previous videos about it, and it was confusing saying it is possible or I have to believe in that. Well, all I can tell you is what we see in lung cleaning and how the lung cleans themselves, man. I mean, that's all we see. It's all your body can do to get rid of these type of things. But I've never seen where the body couldn't get rid of anything it didn't want in it. You know. But when you got to realize all the mucus-forming foods that people eat, and when you inhale fibers, and this is also true with these black moles that look like they're little razor blades, you know, you get that all trapped in mucus in the lungs. It's locked in there. So as your body begins to loosen this mucus up and expectorate, it'll pull the fibers out with it. But other than that, good luck. I don't know. There's nothing to take to eliminate the fibers. You have to expectorate them. Well, you've got to put your body into that sort of mechanism of expectoration, and that's called detoxification in nature. I would love to hear more about this subject, and if it is possible to clean this for sure, absolutely. I read that if microscopic fibers are inhaled, the body doesn't recognize them, and they can't come out. That's only people saying that don't know about detox and how the body cleans itself. The average person brings in chemistry and don't go out. The average person doesn't detox. The average person has no clue. So the average person's on an acid ash forming diet. So their bodies are acidic, agglomerated. There's no detox to most people. It just keeps getting worse and worse inside. Building up, tumors, swelling, tumors. Everything's just building and stacking inside. It's obvious. Open the doors. Open your doors. In ad, is it possible to cure mesothelioma? Mesothelioma. Yes, 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 yes. I don't see evidence. You know what? I'll look for some cases in our files. I'll talk to the other counselors to see what we can show you. See what's coming up. Get on our RD site and YouTube sites and see if and ask someone out there if they've had mesothelioma and been able to get rid of it. So put the feelers out there, because we're not always privy to what's going on out there in the world. Because it's just, some of you guys are really kicking butt, and we don't even hear that. So, we got a little bit done today. So, in leaving you, my dear ones, let's get ourselves back into position. Absolutely. Let's start getting ourselves aligned. We've been discussing all these beautiful worlds of God. Love you guys a lot. You're good folk. Appreciate all your efforts and work on yourselves. Everything's not perfect here, but at least you have a focus for remedy. And we have to make sure that we establish this in our society, because our society, look at everybody that's hurting. It's all over. Do you know anybody that's not hurting? Hardly, in one way or another. So, love you bunches, guys. See you on the next video. We've got a Christmas party Friday, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do another video. Maybe tomorrow. This is Wednesday. But these don't get up when I do them. It takes a few days to get up, especially Q&A, because they're time stamped, and that takes a little time. And I did a lot of them today, so it takes. Some of these are studies, so that's not a bunch. Love you guys. Stand tall and be strong.